one. Over to you, Joy.
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on wherever you're joining us from. Really happy to be here, happy to be moderating today's session. And my name is Joy Binwu. I'm a community manager and technical writer. And today we're going to be looking at the topic assessing freelancing and remote work opportunities. When you think of freelancing, when you think of remote work, working from your home, the comfort of your home, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind when you think of all of the opportunities you can get across borders just within your vicinity? That we're going to be looking into that and more in today's webinar. And with me here, we have very, very distinguished speakers. We have Mr. Fenibo Fubara, and we also have Mr. Femi Taiwo. I'll be reading out their bios. We have Mr. Fenibo Fubara, who is a special assistant to the River State Governor on Information and Communication Technology, ICT. He dynamically combines technology and expertise and visionary leadership to drive the state's digital transformation. And with a solid foundation as a software engineer, Mr. Fenibo Fubara has used his knowledge to build a successful career at the intersection of technology education and job creation, and there's so much more about him. We also have Mr. Femi Taiwo, who is a co-founder and CEO of TerraWalk, a talent marketplace connecting businesses globally with top African talents. The platform thrives on robust technology, transparent feedback loops, secure payments, and prompt talent payouts. TerraWalk has earned a resounding chorus of applause since its inception, recognized for innovation, including Google Black Founders Fund membership and a top ranking in Oxford's 2023 Fair Work study. There's so much more about our speakers, and you're going to be learning a lot from them today. I'll just give them this time to briefly say a word of introduction to us before we start today's webinar. Hi, Mr. Fenibo.
Hi, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody. I'm really, really very excited to be on this show today, and I believe by the end of the show, we'll all go home being having added some values to our life. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Hello, Mr. Femi.
Hi, Joy. Thank you for having me and for the invitation, and to everyone and my fellow speaker, Nibo. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and to learn also while we speak and add value to ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I must really commend you for taking out time to be here amidst your busy schedules, and also once more, thank you so much for being here. And at this point, I'll be handing over to Mr. Fenibo, who will take us through a short presentation about the topic, and then we'll proceed to you, Mr. Femi. Over to you, sir.
Okay, all right. So I guess I have 15 minutes for this, and I'll try as much as I can to judiciously use it. So our topic is assessing freelancing and remote job or remote work opportunities, right? So the question that comes to mind, I believe there are persons online watching us, and they are young persons, young Nigerians that this event is meant for. I don't want to assume that everybody knows what freelancing is and what remote working is. So there are quite a number of differences between these two terms, right? So freelancing, it's more like you're going into the self-employment part of things, right? So you want to be independent. You don't want to really be under the purview of a boss or a company. You just want to really be flexible over things. So a freelancer is kind of a self-employed person that works for himself and then has pretty much multiple clients. A remote worker, on the other hand, it's someone who works for a company, but you work remotely at any particular geographical location in the world, right? So, but a freelancer, it's like a self-employed, so you're not under any long-term contracts, right? And then in terms of the flexibility of these two packages, a freelancer, for me, a freelancer, it's much more has much more flexibility with his or her time, because you're able to determine when you want to do a particular work for a client and all that. But if you're a remote worker, right, and you're under a particular company, you're employed, you're under a contract by a company, most of the times you don't get to fully detect when you want to work, when you want to deliver your service to your employer, because most of the times you're not the only one within that team. You work collaboratively with other people, and then you have to attend meetings as at when other people are attending it and all that. So your flexibility is not as much as that of a regular freelancer, right? But then two of you, you have some levels of flexibility because you are working just anywhere, right? So you're not obligated to really come to a particular office in a particular location because you're a remote worker. So everywhere is your office. You can work anywhere at any time, right? So another kind of difference is in terms of payment. In terms of payment, so for a typical freelancer, you don't get to earn salaries in quotes. So you don't say, this is my salary, right? So you just have a specific amount of money that you must have agreed with your client at a particular time for that project. And then the client gets to pay you at those times, depending on the time you agree with the client. So it can be based on a milestone or based on at a particular time of delivery. So you're not on a monthly salary payment. A freelancer is not on a monthly salary payment. A remote worker can usually is on a salary payment from the company that employed him or her, right? And then in terms of longevity of the relationship, most times a remote worker, since he's really employed by a company, it could span for as much as in years. It could be in years. You count in years, maybe 3 years, 4 years, as much as the remote worker keeps delivering the right service and the company is satisfied with the service of that remote worker. So the remote worker keeps being under contract, except of course he or she decides to look for somewhere else and is working somewhere else. But a freelancer is usually a project thing. So most projects could go for even a week, depending on the kind of job you're doing. If you're a graphic designer and all that, so you could just even jump on a gig of just a day or 2 days. So it spans from maybe a day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 months, and maybe 8 months or even a year, depending on how long that particular contract gets to end. Also, in terms of the scope of the work as well, most times freelancers, they have very specific projects. Since it's a project, the scope of that project is very well determined. So you just know that these are your deliverables. They are well spelled out for you as a freelancer. So it's left for you to see the total scope of your work. So before you even start work, you know the beginning to the end of what you want to do. So that also helps your planning and your flexibility, right? So you now decide, okay, I want to do everything, even if it's a project that's supposed to be for 6 months, depending on your efficiency. You can decide to say, okay, since I know the A to Z of this project in terms of the scope, I can just do it within 1 week instead of 6 months. And then I save myself the time to do several other things. But on the other hand, a remote worker, you know that the scope of your work is not as specific as that of a freelancer. So your role and your job description governs how you deliver your value. You just know that you keep doing this particular thing recurringly and all that. And then if new job description comes to you, or if you're being promoted on a new role, comes to you. You didn't know that you have to now adjust to that particular role, right? So yeah, this is different. These are the differences between a freelancer and a remote worker. So is left for you, my audience there, to know which particular path you want to take. Do you want to be a remote worker, or you want to be a freelancer? Trust me, it's really fun, right? It's really fun as compared to the traditional way of working where you have to, especially if you're in Lagos. Let me pick on you guys, especially if you're in Lagos, it's quite hectic, right? Moving from one geographical location to the other. So it's really a huge thing of benefits to either go into the freelancing aspect, or you choosing to be a remote worker. Yeah, so that's that. Then first steps to creating a portfolio and closing on your initial client as a freelancer, right, or a remote worker. So the first steps include, first of all, you need to be comfortable with the idea that remote working and freelancing, it's worthwhile. Like, right, you need to embrace it so that you'll be comfortable and know that, yeah, I'm really adding value. Because some persons, is a mindset thing, so they feel that if I don't get to go out from the four walls of my house, I'm not productive. They feel less of themselves because they are just at the same spot, right? They are not getting dressed, they are not moving somewhere, they are not busy, in quotes, right? People don't get to see them. Oh, he's going to work and he's coming back from work and all that. So that the first step is to believe and accept the reality of today, the 21st century reality of today going forward as well. So once you embrace that, that's the first step for you to begin to get into the system, really. Then the second step is for you to be able to create a portfolio and close up on your clients. You need to, first of all, set up an environment, a friendly environment that supports the kind of work you want to do. So most of the time, as a freelancer, you're already in a creative space, right? So most of the things you do require some external resources apart from your brainchild and all. So you're dependent on some external things like a laptop. In fact, that's very important. You can't do without it. A laptop or a smartphone. So setting up your environment for productivity, you need a laptop, you need a smartphone, you need an internet access, a trusted internet access, right? So you'll be able to communicate with your clients and other people that you get to work with, right? So the first thing is having that productive space, right? If you're not able to make that productive space for yourself, then it affects almost everything you'll be doing. You'll be on the losing side because you'll just be at home, or in quotes, in your comfort zone, and nothing is really happening. So a comfortable laptop, a comfortable chair, comfortable environment that promotes and inspire your productivity, not just promote it, that inspire your productivity. So that's the second step, right, for you to create a portfolio that would really sell. Then the third step is be sure of equipping yourself with the right skill sets and the right stacks, right? So that's why it's important you really deploy the counsels of some persons that have gone ahead of you, right? You need mentors. You need to also register with institutions that train people so that you be guided, because it's possible, since learning is now democratized. You can actually learn from anywhere. You can just jump on YouTube, you see a particular course from anybody and you jump on it. Yes, it's cool, it's possible. You can actually learn that way, but you need guidance, because the creative space, the software development space, it's really broad and it's crazy. It has grown actually from what it used to be to where it is right now. So it has moved from the Fortran and all those languages and all that, COBOL, C++, C Sharp, Java. It has moved from all those levels of programming languages to much more advanced programming languages that makes coding, that makes productivity easier. So you need someone to tell you where to start from. Otherwise, you would spend most of your time learning and learning. You'll just be in that continuous circle of learning and learning and learning, because there are a lot of things to really learn. If you just want to end up learning and learning. So number one, it's just look for a mentor, look for someone to guide you, someone that they experience. They will just tell you here, 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 here. And then the beauty of it is within 6 months, right? If you're doing the right thing, no matter wherever you want to go to, whatever choice you're going to, you want to be a front end, a back end, a UI UX, a DevOps and all that. So depending, regardless of whichever part you want to do, within 6 months, if you're properly guided, you should be able to have learned reasonably good, and then possibly start hitting your first gigs and contracts. So that's the third step you need to take for you to start creating a portfolio that will enable you to meet your clients and all that. Then the fourth one is get involved in projects, right? So you don't need to be scared. You just need to pick up a project. So you learn faster by actually doing something, developing something, getting your hands dirty. You don't need to stick or find yourself in that continuous circle of learning and learning and learning. It's tricky. It's tricky. So for me, the times I started, once I learn, I implement, I learn and implement. So it's more like your hands-on, you're learning and you're implementing. So that's it makes you to grow faster, and then you achieve your goal faster. Then build an online portfolio that meets your clients' needs. Build an online portfolio that meets your client's need. If you're a UI UX designer, if you're a front end designer, and then you're a beginner, right? You don't need to just put up those jobs of yours that are not really impressive, right? So there are two parts of this whole thing: you being a technical person, you knowing this, having the skill, and you also understanding the customer's aspect, because the customer is the person who ends up paying you. So if you don't understand the customer, and then you're the best UI UX designer, or you're the best front end guy, you might still not be doing very well in terms of what's coming into your pocket at the end of the day. So you need to step aside from just being a technical person to understanding your clients. So you need to know what drives them. You need to know their aspiration. You need to know their fears, their desires, and their needs. Nobody wants a shabby work. Most of the time, even the brokest of your clients, they want the best for the least amount of money, right? So what I'm trying to say is that what you're putting out there, even though you're a learner, even though you're a beginner, should be impressive enough, right? Should be impressive. It should be impressive enough. So once they see, because they would only hit you or they only contact you if your profile is good enough. But how can your profile just be good enough from nowhere? So what that means is that you just need to find a way to hack through the system, right? You just need to find a way to hack through the system. If you've done a couple of one job, right? And of course, you need to survive, you need to live, you need to earn. You can as well maybe get a job that your friend that have gone ahead have done just for presentation sake. So this might not sound proper, but then this is reality. You have to do something. You have to put out something that will attract your clients to you. And then, of course, while you're trying to hack through your way in the freelancing space, you have to also be sure that you're growing your skill set, so that whatever you're putting in front of your client and you say that I did this or this is what I did, it's beautiful. At the end of the day, when they contact you to say, okay, can you do this for us? Even though initially those ones you presented were not yours, but because over time you've built your capacity to be able to do that same thing, you find out that yes, you've been able to attract the clients to yourself. And then by doing that, you've also fast tracked your level of growth to be able to do that same thing that you showed them that you can do. So it's just more like a way of hacking through the system to be able to close up on your on the kind of clients that you really want. Okay. And then yeah, that's that. So the role of networking is very key and important in freelancing, because it's more like you're in a world of your own, like it's just you, right? Because you've decided to follow this path of freelancing and remote work. So your greatest allies are the people you know, the communities you belong to. Okay, so if you're lucky enough to have studied computer science or one of these courses that are directly related to the creative space you're currently operating in, maybe you studied computer science, computer engineering, that's fine, because naturally your colleagues would be people of like minds, right? They are doing the same thing you want to do. So your university WhatsApp group is automatically like a community that you've already joined, and that's best for you. But for some other persons that might not necessarily have studied computer science, you don't have that community naturally, so you need to break out of yourself. You need to go to events, join communities, go out there, take your laptop, take your system, go out there, sit out in places where you can meet potential clients and all. Yeah, so a lot of times most people, they are scared of breaking into this freelancing and remote work because most people, they don't get to believe in themselves, right? Once you're taken away from the general population that goes out to work and you're just alone, you tend not to believe in yourself. But the first thing for you to do to break through this, to break through and have a rewarding career as a freelancer, is to first of all believe in yourself. Know that if you're seated with your computer just alone in your room or anywhere, it's not just you alone, right? There are a lot of factors, elements of life that are with you, right? So you have to be confident. You have to know that, of course, it's not just you. That's why we talked about networking a few minutes ago. If you're stuck somewhere, you can always reach out to people. You can always call and then find a way through the whatever difficulty that you're having. Yeah. So I think they say my time is up, right, Joy? Can I proceed or? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. You've really dropped lots and lots of nuggets so far you've been speaking. So we're just going to pause here for a bit. And to everyone who is listening, who is watching out there, feel free to drop your questions in the live section. If you have something, a particular thing you want to ask concerning this topic, you want to direct to any of our speakers today, ensure to drop that in the chat because we'll be having the Q&A session after our speaker's presentation. And at this point, I'm going to be calling on Mr. Femi to also give us a brief presentation about the topic. Thank you. You're muted, Mr. Femi.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you again for Joy and Fenibo for a very good presentation. I'll be taking it up from where he stopped, and quickly, how can individuals determine if freelancing or remote work is a good fit for their personality and work style and all that? And reality is that, in this part of the world, it's something that is gradually gaining popularity. Not a lot of people who are in the working class kind of embrace this, understand this yet. But one thing I would say, starting would be that the fact that you are going to be working mostly independently. Of course, there'll be opportunity for networking, but most of the time, as a freelancers and remote workers, you must have that capability, to be able to do work with minimal self-supervision and then be able to kind of figure things out on your own. And on a very lighter note, from the experience of our platform, TerraWork, some people might think you are jobless or kind of Yahoo, on a lighter note, because maybe when people are going to work, maybe facing traffic, going to work, you are in your house in front of your computer working. And we have seen situations where even parents or some, freelancers think that, what are you doing? You don't go to work and then you say you have job and all that. But, another thing is a discipline to avoid distraction. No, doing remote work or freelancing does not mean that you can do it when you like, or you can be in front of your TV all the time and then getting distracted at the smallest thing, or it's not the day you want to try to cook some funny and very extensive food like jokingly moi moi or do very heavy food. Eat your food, have the time you need to work. Focus on that. Avoid TV, avoid, scrolling up and down your phone, and focus on the job and make sure you are putting quality time, in the job that you are doing. And from experience, we can see that working from home also requires some form of investment. That's as a freelancer and as a remote worker, you need to put, in place. Your house or co-working space or wherever you work, you don't have to say when you're a freelancer or remote workers, you have to work from your house. It could be renting a co-working space where you can comfortably work without distraction, or you invest in yourself, in your space. I mean, maybe you have to look for alternative to power supply from PHCN and ensure that maybe you have things like alternative power supply like inverter, solar panel, or anything to ensure that throughout the time you're working, you have electricity to power your devices to ensure that you can connect to the internet. Another thing is good internet, of course. I wouldn't suggest or advise that you connect to your phone or spots to do excessive, work, but rather invest in all these telcos, modem, routers, and everything to ensure that, you have good broadband internet connectivity and you own a very solid device. Most of your job will require having a PC or laptop that has the right, specification, good resources like memory, space to do your work and everything. And that is non-negotiable in most of the time, in most cases. There's some program you will run that will require resources, especially for those who are in the graphic space, that you have to just invest in that. These are things that, you need to have. If you're working 9 to 5 somewhere, probably your employer will get that for you. As a remote worker, you might be lucky that your employer maybe ship that across to you from wherever they are from. But as a freelancer, definitely you have to put some investment to ensure that that is in place, for you to be able to work. And it no longer means that you work as you like. When you accept a job, one of the very popular thing around freelancing is that you own your time. You work when you want to work, when you feel like working and all that. But when you work when you feel like working, you also affect your earning capability. That is one. But the moment you are signed up by a customer to do a work, then you know that it becomes a very critical 9 to 5. And then you keep the timing and everything to ensure that, that is in place. Another thing you need to prepare your mind for is a fluctuating income, for freelancer in particular. So there might be time that, it's like everybody's looking at you and a lot of gigs are coming to you and you're busy working. And there could be time that maybe the jobs are not coming like that. So you are going to have experience fluctuating income. And that's also for remote workers, those who are on contract, for example, maybe you take up a 6-month contract and then throughout that 6 months, maybe you have a steady income every 2 weeks or every month. And then maybe after the 6 months, you may have to look for another job. In between that period, it may not have income. So you need to spread your finance such a way that whether you're having enough gigs or not, be able to cater for your need. Then you understand again that, okay, no leave allowance, like 9 to 5, in most cases, and maybe no health plan, no pension plan. And then it also means that sometimes it might be that there may be severe sanction or penalty for critical failures, which are things that you need to understand that you know the job super well before you delve into becoming one. And you might also be dealing with diverse clients across different cultures. So one of the benefits that freelancing has given, leveraging platform, like tutorial work and all that, gives you opportunity that you have the entire world as where you can get customer from potentially, not just within your geographical space, but you have guys, talent in Lagos working for customers in New York, or working for customer in somewhere like maybe Berlin or so. So culture differ. And you need to understand that and, make room for that to do that. Time zone we affect in some cases, for most freelancers or remote workers that work for American companies, it probably means they start around 4, 5, 6 p.m. and they may work deep late into the night. And then maybe they are going to bed around 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning, and they're sleeping most of the time in the morning. So it means again that in the morning, when others who are living in Lagos are now waking up to do their things, you have to have the discipline to know that you need to rest at that time to be able to prepare and get better for the next one, working time that will start probably around 4 or 6 p.m. in the evening. So you have to have that kind of discipline to ensure that that is in place. Number two is, how important is it to niche down and specialize in a particular skill or industry when pursuing freelancing or remote opportunities? And I would say, yeah, one thing here is that you will work alone sometimes or in a virtual team with team members having diverse skills. So it's very important that you own your space. So if you join in a team to work with someone, you are going to be, let's say, UI designer, for example, then be a UI designer that the whole thing can rely on to deliver value in that space. Not that we need somebody else to come and assist in that space. So it's important that you have that special skill. Sorry, you develop your skill to the level where, yeah, you own it, you have it, the team can count on you, you can bring value to the table, and ensure that you know it so well, of course. And at the same time, too, you don't need to be super narrow, because things changes all the time. For example, example that comes to mind is, let's say you are a front-end designer, for example, of front-end developer, but and then maybe back-end developer and all sorts. But I would think, say, you are better off, let's say, as a front-end designer that can do a little bit of back-end, or a back-end developer that can do a little bit of front-end, or better still, a full stack that can play around everywhere. Most teams today, we hire software developers, and then whether front-end or back-end, depending on the dynamics of the project, push you to whatever that has to be. And it's important that, take note of that. So the broader it is, of course, the better, but not too broad to the point that it becomes pointless and becomes like, what is your nature, area of your specialty? Other things like a project manager, for example, you might need other skill around it, like maybe business analyst skill and all that. So, in the regular or legacy employment opportunity, we say, you need somebody with this particular skill, but having this and that and this is a plus. So a software developer, for example, it might be that because you have that knowledge of AWS platform, you have that DevOps skill, you understand that Google platform, Google Cloud platform, or you have that Microsoft Azure, or be able to work in that environment might be a plus. So meaning that another software developer that only does know his core programming, but with limited knowledge, maybe he knows, for example, Microsoft Azure, but the project requires that he will work in a AWS environment. It's better have the skill across popular platforms so that can be an edge that will give you the opportunity. On TerraWork, for example, we've had countless cases where those extras are the reason, you get that freelancer or that talent get that job ahead of others who are equally qualified, with a core skill. And we're talking about contract invoicing here. So what is the best way to handle this thing? And I would say you need to understand the platform where you're working with. If, for example, you sign up on TerraWork and you're a freelancer on TerraWork, then the platform gives you opportunity, for example, to be able to use that feature on the platform to send maybe contract or quotation to your potential customer or recruiter. And the platform, and then it's usually have this kind of category where there will be parts where you clearly state what needs to be done in a term that is void of technical jargons that anybody can understand. Most of the time, good customers who will pay you good salary may not be that deep in that technical knowledge. And you need to demonstrate that. It's very simple thing. Let's say, for example, you want to develop an app that does this and this. It's very simple. Anybody will understand that without having to be a technical or code or software developer, for example. So the contract template, you need to be able to be clear, in doing that, while you also state how long the tasks you need to do and how long those things will take to be able to deliver on them. And those might be bits having some kind of jargons, but you have to be clear about what needs to be done. Let's say to deliver on this project, tasks A, B, C, and D will be done. Clearly outline them and put reasonable duration, that they will be delivered on. One of the pitfall of many guys would be project that will last for, as a freelancer, project that will last for 2 weeks, they are quoting 5 days, meaning that they are putting half of time that typical will take like 10 days to do. That put them under pressure, and then when they're not requesting for more time, they look like you don't know what they're doing also. So we need to be realistic and kind of competitive with that. And of course, set deliverables that immediately when I'm done, you're going to see this, you're going to see that, which platform like ours provide for everyone, to do. Then and when you set those contract terms very well in your quotation, they also help you in the event of dispute. And dispute is when customer reject your work for some reasons. And then you're able to articulate what and these are the contracts that we have that we both signed off at the beginning and paid for to do. And then you're able to use that, to make a case. Because at the end of the day, most platforms will rely on the contracts to manage disputes and to decide, who wins or who lose, in that kind of arrangement. And then other thing there is an invoicing and maybe pricing. And what I would say there is be competitive. At the beginning, you might need to stoop low a little bit just to drop traffic. One of the currency of freelance and remote work is the amount of job you've done in the past. The more jobs you've done, the more likely the platform and algorithm and customer are going to come for you, saying that you have track record. Sometimes you might need to kind of lower your price a little bit and take it up. Experienced freelancers know how to do this. And then another thing is that you have to be competitive with pricing. There's this popular saying that everybody has one or two problems, but don't put all your life problem on one opportunity or one gig. So if the job, for example, is, let's say, $200, don't quote $500. Because the same customer is talking to other freelancers like you or remote worker like you, and then they are going to make decisions, and this could be points where you lose out. And it happens a lot with a lot of freelancers and with a lot of remote workers trying to, in quotes, put all their life problem in one opportunity. And when it comes to taxes, I am not an expert on that, but most freelance platforms give you opportunity to find means to at least provide your transactions history and your earnings and everything. And of course, it varies from country to country and from places to places. And I think in most cases, you're going to be classified as self-employed and you follow, the tax system that is allowed for that. Another thing there, it would be to save for rainy days. Like we said earlier, income may not be steady like 9 to 5. Sometimes you might need health. HMO may not be there. Plan for me in case you are sick, you have money to take care of that. To buy work tool. Sometimes you want to take holiday, you want to go on a vacation, and then of course you need to plan for retirement and all those things. So, okay, that's with that one. And another thing I would say for me, what advice will I give to anyone who wants to freelance or want to, put things up as a remote worker? And understand one thing, most platforms where you're going to do this work, they are customer-centric. You need to understand that. And it makes sense. Every platform will want more customers to come back to hire and hire freelancers and hire remote workers. So the platform algorithm and the system is built around promoting those who are doing very well. And how do you find yourself into that? One, it starts with impressive profile. Fenibo has spoken so well about that on point. Your profile, your online portfolio is that salesman that is speaking for you every time when somebody is browsing. So when people are looking at thousands of platforms, seeing millions of profiles of people having similar skill like yours, you need to stand out in that. You need to be able to understand platform algorithm. And very, very simple. It's like SEO, that you are trying to do to rank very high. And eventually, when those customers come to your page and see from your profile pictures, the header, the title, the images used to buttress what you are selling and everything, skill set, it's like a keyword, your packages and everything has to be spot on. And sometimes the question we always ask as TerraWork is that look at your profile and flip the coins. If you are a customer looking at this profile, will you want to engage this guy in further discussion, maybe to send a quotation for a job or to chat up the person? If your answer is no, then your profile is not good enough. Then you need to go back and see how you can improve that. And when we do that self-examination, truly against our profile and everything, you are going to be spot on. And last thing I want to say is communication here. So sometimes platform provide an opportunity for you to chat with customers. So while we chat you up, say, I want to do this project and this and that. Can you do it? And you say, yes, I can do it. Why? How? You need to provide evidence and, you communicate in a manner that they're able to see convincingly that, yes, you can do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. That was so insightful. All of the things you shared about this topic, they're on point. And I think for everyone who has been listening so far, right from when we started up until now, you would agree with me that Lagosians have collected a lot of stray bullets so far. But yeah, thank you so much. It's been really enlightening so far. And one question, so just to everyone listening out there, feel free to also rep your state where you're joining from, in addition to asking your questions. One question that has been recurrent throughout this conversation is that, how can we get this freelancing, or how and where can we get this freelancing opportunities? And one thing that you both have covered so far is, the how part, what people can do to position themselves for these opportunities. But I'll train this question at you, Mr. Fenibo. Would you like to tell us more about where people can assess these opportunities, also looking at what you do at Dreamwork, and like just your journey to building such a successful talent marketplace, and in addition to other parts, could you like throw more light on where to access opportunities for freelancing and remote work?
All right. The question is, we've talked a lot about how to get into freelancing and do remote working. So the bigger question now is, where can we actually find this, right? So okay, there are several platforms, right, where any aspiring freelancer or remote worker can actually jump in, and then you profile yourself and be in front of thousands of clients or customers globally that can see what you do. Okay, so of course, I'm going to start with the one that is closest to us, that favors us all. Or we're in Nigeria and we have very awesome um, talent matching platforms, right? Dronework is there, of course, right? You can visit Dronework to profile yourself and then get in front of high profile clients globally, right? Of course, my colleague, Mr. Femi Taiwo, TerraWorks is there, and they are doing awesome, great work in Lagos and all over Nigeria. So these are the ones that are close to us that would enable you to meet clients, right? That can actually engage you almost immediately. And then looking from farther away, globally as well, we have platforms like Upwork. We have platforms like Fiverr, right? We have platforms like freelancer.com, remote OK. There are numerous out there, right? So, but one thing you need to understand, there's a difference between I just mentioned some of them are like job boards, while some are like platforms. Yeah, a number of differences. All right, so you need to know the difference between just a regular job board and a platform. So part of the advantage that a talent on platform like the one I just mentioned, Drumwork, TerraWork, Upwork, Fiverr, does for you is that they help you, they help streamline your efforts. Okay, so before you join into the platform, they help profile you, they guide you in terms of profiling yourself, and because they are a platform, right, they have those targeted clients that you need, because these are all global marketplaces, platforms. What that means is that they have a pool of clients who already need your services. So these platforms have already taken the biggest part of your trouble. Okay, because myself, I grew through all these phases. I was once a freelancer, I did work on Upwork and all that. So but one thing is that as a technical person, as a freelancer, as a remote worker, you are just focused on improving your skill, right? Looking good in front of potential clients and all that. And of course, that's what you should be doing. You should focus on your skill set. So, but that's just one part of the whole picture. The other part is you need to be in front of the people who want your service. So the beauty or the advantage or the value that these platforms offer you is that they take away the headache of you trying to find clients, meet your clients and all that. So they make your job worthwhile in the sense that they bring those clients to you. So you don't get to run for those clients because you don't have the time. The little time you have, you're trying to upskill, you're trying to deliver to the clients already. So, but these platforms, they pick up your profile and then they do the hard part of matching you to the clients that needs your service and all that. So yeah, so these are possible places where you can actually start off your freelance career, right? And then Joy also said I should talk about what inspired um, me finding dronework.io. Okay, so it's been an interesting journey so far. So part of what inspired Dronework, it's I think 2015, 2014. I was with my first group as at then. So we did a whole lot of teaching, education. We taught a lot of persons on campus then. We taught them some software skills, some computer programming and all. And it was really, really very big as at then. We just finished university. We had not gone to service, but then we started re-impacting the campus society, right? So I looked at the whole thing and I saw that it's growing. Like the number of persons we are empowering with this skill set, they are increasing by the day, right? But the bigger question is not you just having a skill set. The bigger part of the question is where can I use this skill set that I've learned? Okay, especially as students, then how can I use it to immediately start making something for myself, right? So I said, okay, of course, to be very smart with the question, it will make sense to be able to come up with a platform, a solution that enables anyone who have a skill set, right, to be able to find those jobs that will really befit them. So that inspired the journey so far. Though it's been a whole lot of iterations, we've moved from different phases and value points in just trying to solve the problem. But yeah, that's what inspired the creation of DroneWork. So we now had to go into building something that will be able to connect local talents in Nigeria, right, with global customers out there. Of course, it makes a whole lot of sense because any student, any young person in Nigeria, you say, okay, just learn this for 6 months or 4 months, and then you start earning in dollars. Everybody's eye, it's like, wow, dollars are, of course, I would do anything to just start learning in dollars. So it's even motivates their learning process, and then they get to learn very fast, profile themselves, and then they are now visible to the global community, which who will be able to come and engage them. And of course, it's good for our country. It's more like we are exporting our local content to the world. Nigeria is one of the youngest country, right, with a median age of I think 17 years old, right? So that tells a whole lot. It's a very young population. So what are we doing? Everybody's complaining that there is nothing to do. There is no job. The government is not doing this. The government is not doing that. But you are your own government. In fact, permit me to say you are the local government. As an individual, as a young person out there, you're a local government, right? So it starts from you. As a local government, how have you governed your jurisdiction? You should be able to spend a little money. Look at 3MTT is doing a great job trying to empower about 3 million youths with various tech skills. It's to just be patient enough, gather the skill, and then go to platforms, Dronework, TerraWork, Upwork, Fiverr, profile yourself, and you don't even need to limit yourself in one of these platforms. I won't tell you that, oh, just profile yourself here and that solves your problem. For Christ's sake, I can't tell you that. Go to all the platforms, profile yourself in all of them, a little here, a little there. You never can tell. If you don't have opportunity from Dronework, you would have from TerraWork. If you don't have from TerraWork, you have from Upwork. If you don't have from Upwork, you have from Fiverr. And before you know, it's even possible that you're always on a payroll, just like a regular employed person, right? You're almost on a payroll because you've been able to distribute your profiles here and there, and then at the point, if you will be tired of work, you'll be tired of work. Yeah. So that's it so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure you've done justice to that question. And to everyone who is listening, if you're learning as much as I am from our distinguished speakers today, feel free to leave a nice word for them. Feel free to, just comment whatever it is that has stood out to you so far on this webinar. Feel free to drop that in the chat section. And also we have a question here that I'll be directing at Mr. Femi. While you were speaking, you touched on, the financial aspect of just working as a freelancer or as a remote worker. And a question here says, how do Nigerians get paid on international platforms like Gray as a freelancer? And just like building off of that question, there's this whole struggle that Nigerians get to have as, freelancers or remote workers when it comes to, let's say, receiving international payments or like payments basically in foreign currencies, right? So can you throw more light on how Nigerians can, let's say, bypass that struggle, and also if there is anything TerraWork is doing, any innovative solution that you have incorporated into your platform that could help curb some of these challenges?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And part of the problem we notice is this payment challenge where you have to have multiple various means of receiving payment, from PayPal to Payoneer and Grid and all those different platforms which they have. If you check platform like Upwork, for example, they give you ability to earn in your local. If you are living in the US and have a bank account in the US, that is possible. And that is one of the solutions we are brought to the table at TerraWork. So one of the things we've done to solve this problem from TerraWork perspective is we allow you to receive payments in mostly Naira and USD and Euro and pound sterling to the Nigerian banks, and we take the ASU behind, we take up that from behind as in the complexity behind the scene. So one of the things we do at TerraWork is you sign up on TerraWork. We support 14 currencies, but I know that there's nobody in Nigeria that wants to earn, for example, in let's say Indian rupees, for example. It's of no use here, but you most likely want to earn in dollars. And most banks allow you to open a DOM account. So the only ask you need to do is to open a DOM account with any bank. And then once that is in place, you put that, when you sign up on TerraWork, which allow you to receive payments in dollars directly into your bank account. And at least talent in Nigeria are able to benefit from that. And not also from Nigeria alone, but Kenya, from Ghana, from South Africa, at least, and from Rwanda. We do that for those 5 countries in Africa. And it's part of our inclusion strategy to see that talent within Africa are able to bypass that challenge, getting paid in that way and all that. So for the other platform, I won't be able to speak so much about them. And like Gray, that you do mention, because, things happen and change, and then we know people have gone through too many challenges with respect to receiving payment after it comes in before you move it to your bank and all that. Platform like Payoneer, which I have used in the past, allow you to connect your bank to it. I don't know whether that is still working right now, where if the platform where you're freelancing is able to allow you to receive payment to your Payoneer account, then you're able to connect it eventually to your bank in Nigeria. So when payment comes to your Payoneer, eventually you have to also move it from there to your bank account in Nigeria. And though it might take a longer process, but we definitely will come in that way. And those are the things. PayPal also allowed that, but I don't know how easy, how steady, how stable that is, that one can leverage on in doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. And at this point, we're gradually drawing the curtains to the close of this webinar. So I'll just ask you to, share any, with this question that says, what are the tips to navigate dry spells as a freelancer? I also want you to use this opportunity to touch on any last words that you, or final advice you want to give our audience, to 3MTT fellows who are listening today, on how they can push forward in their journey to becoming, a freelancer or a remote worker? Mr. Femi, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that, Joy. What are the tips? Get the hard skill, which training this is providing for you, and leverage various network, as mentioned by Fenibo and myself to learn, to upskill. Also approach, this soft skill that you need to survive. Terrell does that once in a while, where we train people to have the required soft skill to navigate the way. Fenibo mentioned that when I was talking, sometimes you need empathy to the customers, especially some of those may not be technically sound. Like you're not going to be working for a company all the time. Sometimes you might be working with customers that have really limited knowledge of IT, and they may not be able to speak jargons like you. Ability to connect with them, show human, part and everything is very key. But I will leave with one thing, which is the fact that the whole world, Africa and Nigeria in particular, have actually become the global talent hub, where the whole world look into getting talent to work for them remotely, or hybrid or whichever thing may be. And that is a very huge opportunities for us. So it's one of these times that we need to upscale, get ready, and know that the whole world need our skill. Many of European countries and North America have dropping working age population, and that means that they are having less and less workforce. Forget that's reality. And in one way or another, they are looking up to Africa and Nigeria in particular to supply that skill. And for you that you have remote friendly, skills, you can offer service that remote friendly. It's a very huge opportunities for you. So you're no longer limited or restricted to Nigeria or to your location where you're in Nigeria, but rather leveraging platforms like TerraWork, like one for Fenibo, another platform, you can be able to have customers all over the place. And it's your time to shine, to earn income, and of course, to contribute your skill and your expertise to the global value chain. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. And over to you, Mr. Fenibo. The last question here says, what should I do differently as a freelancer to be successful? I'd also like you to use the opportunity to share any final words of advice you'd have to our audience listening today.
Okay, what you have to do differently as a freelancer to really succeed. So for me, I think for it's not about what you should do differently, right? It's about even at the base level, is for you to do the basic things first of all. Trust me, people that do the basic things as freelancers that are able to just handle the basic concerns, they are doing extremely well, right? But to answer your question, what you need to do differently, it's you need to, like I said, empower yourself with relevant skills. Okay, with relevant skill, you don't need to be overly, so these tools, these stacks, these skills, PHP, UI, UX, all of these languages, especially for software developers, they are just languages and tools to actually solve a problem. So you shouldn't be super glued to any particular tool, because it's only an end to a means, right? So if you learn PHP, of course, PHP was bubbling some 4, 5, 6 years back. If you learned PHP and you learned Java, and then now you look out there and you see the reality that people no longer maybe hire such persons. I'm not saying they no longer hire such persons. I'm just saying, you see that maybe the skills you have are gradually getting outdated. It's for you to upskill, right? So make sure you hang on with the in-demand skill today. We're talking about AI evolution and all that. So you should even be thinking of how can I deploy AI tools in whatever thing I'm doing as a software developer and all that. So you should be at the top of your game. You should be at the top of your game so that whenever you meet any clients, like I said, they are ambitious. So part of the things you need to do is to share that share that ambition with them. They want to work with people that are forward thinking. They want to work with people that can even push their businesses forward. Okay, so what you need to do differently is to make sure you're on top of your game. Jump on the in-demand skill today, upskill. You don't need to hang on to one particular thing. Upskill, keep upskilling, and then spread your tentacles. Right, you don't need to just be in one particular platform or one particular place. You can explore. The word is exploration, right? Just explore, right? The world, there are several opportunities in the world. If we tell you this and you try it, it's not working, you just keep exploring. All right, you jump on LinkedIn, you explore something. Even if you didn't see it anywhere or it's not written anywhere, you could just decide to do something different. Maybe chat up somebody, right? Just maybe show what one or two things you've done, right? Or create a funny content with what you've done. Just do whatever that can come out from you, okay? And you never can tell. You could just be that thing you've done could just be like the new pathway or the new paradigm that people would be using or deploying to close out on clients. Okay, so my final word to everyone out there is that we are living in the best of time. We are living in the best of time as Africans, as Nigerians. This is the best of time. The people that we are here before us, they never had this opportunity that you're having, right? This is a golden era. It's just for you to see differently. When other people are complaining, oh, I need to leave Nigeria, I need to leave the country, this is this and that is not working. What you should be thinking is, what are the opportunities? The way the world system, the economics of the world, dollar, naira rate is changing, everything is happening. How does it favor me? How can I leverage on it? That's just what you should be thinking. How can I leverage? How can I leverage? And by the time you start answering that question, you know that the opportunities are very large out there. Okay, equip yourself with the right skill, right? Equip yourself with the right skill, then put yourself out there, and trust me, you're going to be super, super good any moment from now. So thank you guys. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our speakers, Mr. Fenibo and Mr. Femi. It has been such a delight moderating this session and having you join us today from your busy schedules. And to our audience listening today, if you've been with us from the onset of this webinar up until this point, you would agree with me that a lot has been shared from, how to just stand out, how to position yourself for freelancing and remote work opportunities to, how and where to get these opportunities. Feel free to check out Dreamwork, feel free to check out TerraWork, Upwork, and also do your research on tons of other platforms that you could leverage to assess these opportunities. There's so much you can do to position yourself to get these opportunities. And also, if you are already a freelancer or a remote worker, there's also so much you can do to upskill yourself, to go beyond the point you are currently, to get more gigs, to get more clients, to build up your portfolio to become even better than it was today. So if you've been here all through this webinar, if there's something you feel like you've missed, feel free to hit the replay button. And also don't forget to leave a word of thanks for our speakers. Don't forget to mention whatever it is that have stood out to you in this webinar. You can also connect with them on LinkedIn. And that will be it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, to our speakers and to our audience. We hope to see you next time. But until then, we'll be drawing the curtains today. We're wrapping up today. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guy. Thanks, Joey. Thanks, Mr. Femi.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Fenibo.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.